Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the July 12th, 2022 Old Bridge Township Council meeting. If you could stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. We will have a moment of silence, and we will have a prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's customary that we stand for a moment to remember those who are protecting our freedoms, both here and abroad, for our first responders, for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. A moment of silence, please. Mr. Paschetti, our prayer.
Dear Lord, bless thy servants in the ministry of public affairs who serve thee in this chamber. Give us quiet minds and hearts that we may hear their voice. Help us to know when to speak, when to be silent. Give us strength to oppose the wrong and uphold the right. Grant that we have a good conscience and soul at peace with thee and with one another. Amen.
Amen. Everyone, please be seated. Thank you. Unless you press the button. Please.
Okay, roll call. Councilperson DeCaro.
Present.
Councilperson De Palma.
Here.
Councilperson Desai. Here. Councilperson Garcia.
Present.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Present.
Let the record reflect that Councilperson Murphy is absent. Councilperson Paschetti.
Here.
Councilperson Walker.
Here.
Council President Sohar.
Here. Thank you very much. And Mr. Murphy will not be with us this evening.
This meeting is being held in conformance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been given to the newspaper, and notice of this meeting has been posted in public places. Next open public meeting of the council will be held on August 9th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m.
Okay. Yep. Yes. First, we'll start this evening. Good evening, everyone. We'll start this evening with presentations, a solar energy program presentation. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. And if you could introduce yourself for the public. Thank you. In the mic, if it's on, green? Yeah. Okay, very good.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Dunshee. I am the Chief Commercial Officer for a company called Solar Landscape. We're based in Asbury Park, New Jersey. We've been doing business in New Jersey since 2012, and I would like to extend to the mayor, the president of the council, and all the members here thanks for just allowing us to come and talk about an important project that we're bringing to Old Bridge and just kind of give you the details of it. Mm-hmm. Now, some time ago when we applied for this project with the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, the council was kind enough to give us a letter of support, and one of the promises that we made is that we'd come back and kind of report the progress on the project. So, off I go. Let's start here. You probably can't see it here, but there's two large buildings behind that, and those are two projects that we did and just completed about a year and a half ago in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. They're Duke Realty projects. And the whole idea of what we're bringing to Old Bridge is very different than anything that's ever happened in New Jersey. So with the legislation that was passed in 2018, what we're doing is we're putting solar panels on large industrial rooftops. But rather than powering the buildings themselves, we're using the electricity to power homes in the community. The idea behind this is that folks, not everyone has the opportunity to participate in the solar revolution, right? If I live in an apartment or a high rise, if I have a bad roof, if I have a shaded roof, I can't participate in this. The whole idea of community solar was New Jersey is a very populous state. We don't have a lot of land, so let's use these commercial rooftops to their full maximum capacity. So we used to put solar on a logistics center like an Amazon or something like that, or Costco, and we're doing one of those right in next town over in Monroe. We would probably only be able to put panels on about 20% of the roof because we could only offset the electricity that the building itself was using. Now we're able to put panels on the entire roof and use all that energy to power the community. And that's what we're doing in Old Bridge. So I want to tell you specifically about that project. I have copies for everybody here of what I'm going to go over with you today, so I don't want to bore you with all the details of this timeline, except to say that this program was rolled out by the Board of Public Utilities as a 3-year pilot program. The first 2 years went so well that they've made it a permanent program. So you'll be hearing more and more about it and probably be hearing along the way from other solar developers. There have been 155 of these projects approved, including the one that's in Old Bridge. My company we've been fortunate, we have 46 of them. The idea here is energy equity, which is access for all. We're going to generate clean electricity where it used to be dirty. That helps fight climate change. And I think the most important thing, in addition to this idea of clean versus dirty energy, is that by virtue of the way that the Board of Public Utilities set up the program, every bit of the electricity that we deliver has to be delivered at a discount to Old Bridge residents. So we'll talk about that in a sec. So there's really 3 parts to this. There's the developer. We put the panels on the roof. We build, own, operate, maintain the solar system. It's ours. What the commercial real estate owner gets instead of electricity, he or she is getting a lease payment from us. So we're tenant on the roof, just like any other tenant in the building. And we pay them that lease payment for 20 years. We operate the project for 20 years, and we deliver that clean electricity to your residents. Because the municipality was kind enough to provide us a letter of support, what we agreed as part of the application was if someone goes on and enrolls and they do their education and their due diligence, they want to be part of it, if they use a promo code through the municipality, we will guarantee them 25% off their electricity usage each and every month for the full 20 years that they're involved in the program. Through the work and some previous meetings that we had with the mayor and other members of the council, the request was, what can we do? We had a prayer before the meeting began for first responders. What can we do for first responders? So we'll extend for any first responders a 30% discount. So today, with inflation, et cetera, this idea of being able to get 30% off your electricity costs, particularly for people, and hopefully you can help us identify folks who are all electric, that's an important cost savings. So just to kind of sum this up, this is a new program in the state of New Jersey. The idea here is access for all condos, high-rises, retirement communities. No solar panels are needed on anyone's home. 51% of the electricity that we produce has to go to low to moderate income households. That's the state law. There was no project that was approved, and it's a very competitive process. There was no project approved that didn't extend 51% to LMI. The guaranteed discount for Old Bridge residents, as long as they're using your code, is 25%. Folks enroll online. The biggest thing we fought against is third-party energy and some of the bad things that happened there and the bad experience people had. What's important that for the council to know is people enroll online. There's no cost to get in. There's no cost to get out. There's no long-term contract. Literally, someone could go in, participate, not like it for some reason, and then they leave. And what we also do is work with local nonprofits. Some of the things that we've talked to towns about and we've done other places is maybe to work with a sports league. It's kind of a fundraising. Anyone who's in the sports league who enrolls in the program will give a gift card to the person that enrolls and make a donation to the sports league of maybe $125, $150, help to buy the football uniforms or something like that. The whole idea of community solar is that there's rules for developers like us that we have to engage properly with the community as part of the program. So this is the Old Bridge project, and actually it's an extra space. I don't think that address is right. I apologize. I got back into town, but it's the extra space. It's a 611 kW system. It'll power 100 homes. Those little green things, those are what our engineers use to determine where trees would be and how some of the solar might get blocked out. But the idea behind this extra space is you can see some of the lighter sections at the bottom of the picture. They already had solar panels. So now what we've been able to do is go to them and say, let's use this extra space that extra space has, and let's use the rooftops to power the community. So this is essentially a small project, but it'll power 100 homes. The nice thing for Old Bridge is your residents will also be eligible for the Monroe project, which is on a much larger building in Monroe Township on Costco Drive, and that will power 800 homes. You see how only half the building's taken? The projects can only be 5 megawatts in size. We can apply next year for the rest of the rooftop, which we'll do, and that will be another 800 homes. So this is coming. It's coming quickly, and we hope that, and like to kind of get your guidance on how to best roll this out in Albridge. These are some of the projects that we did in the first year that are up and operational. The first 2 projects all the way on the left were the community solar projects of the year in the country. The governor was there to kind of kick it off and cut the ribbon there and make a presentation. And one of the young men who went through our workforce development program that we have at us in Job Corps, who we trained and hired and was up on the roof, was able to introduce the governor that day. So it's kind of a special day for everybody. That's a little bit about I have this in your packages. I'll give to everybody, but that's what we did at Perth Amboy. We worked with the Housing Authority to make sure that the low to moderate income residents were getting the benefits of that. That's the mayor in the middle, Mayor Cava. That's the executive director of the Housing Authority, Doug Zema, all the way on the left. We call that guy Solar Santa in the red. We just had a great day. We had the residents come out. We gave gift cards and cookies and everything else. We made a wonderful day about it. So what I'm hoping that the council can do, more than anything else, as we proceed forward with this, is help us to identify the low to moderate income residents that can most benefit from this, and help us understand any of what you're doing in the community that we can be part of. If it's a green energy day that you happen to be having, or a community day in some way, and you want us to do tabling or help sponsor, we'd love to do that. This is an important project for us. We want to continue to be involved with Old Bridge going forward. Does anybody have any questions?
Does the council, anyone on council? Mrs. DeCaro?
Yes. Yeah, it sounds really nice. The one thing that I had a question about was, okay, so you said 51% of the energy would go to the low and moderate income, okay? And then I noticed, was it just the one section of solar fields that would supply energy to, I think it said 400 homes?
Hold on one moment. Sorry.
There we go. Okay. So of that 100 homes from the Old Bridge project, 51 of those residents that enrolled in that, or those homes, would have to be low to moderate, be it apartments or condos or anything.
Okay, so so would this be an application process,
Okay.
an overall application process, or how do you decide who gets?
Great question. It's first come, first serve, and everything's done online. So people go, they put in their name, they put in their address, they put in their utility number, their JCP&L account. We scrape all the data from the JCP&L account, and what we do is deliver one bill to them. On their bill, they'll see what JCP&L charged, they'll see the solar credit, they'll see their 25% discount, and it'll calculate every month what their total cost savings was.
Because I imagine that would fill up very quickly, in an hour. The applications are out, done.
Councilwoman, interestingly enough, one of the more difficult things for us to do, although it's changing a little bit, is education. And people in New Jersey are more skeptical than most. Our LMI residents are even more skeptical than some other residents. And just because they can't afford to make mistakes. So one of the key things that we want to do with your help is get this information out to residents so that they're aware of it, just so that they can go and take a look and see if it makes sense for them. And we have bilingual team. I run a 10-person community engagement team that will answer anyone's questions or come to any event that you'd like us to be a part of.
Okay.
You say there's a 20-year lease agreement? Can you explain that?
Yeah, so when we put in our application with the Board of Public Utilities, their requirement is that when we engage with Duke Realty or Extra Space or whatever it might be, those solar panels are going to be on that roof for 20 years. So we sign a lease agreement with them to pay them a lease payment for 20 years. They also provide us a solar non-disturbance agreement, which says even if they sell the building, the solar panels have to stay up there.
So what happens if you put up solar panels and something happens? Do you replace them or?
We do, yeah, they're ours. We own that system. So it behooves us in all cases to keep that thing up and operational. At the end of 20 years, we have the opportunity to sign an additional agreement with them to continue, or it's our responsibility to remove the panels at our expense.
Yeah, you said 100 homes, 51% would be low, moderate income. And then you said you were going to offer the first responders a 30% discount, but it doesn't seem like many of them would make it into the program.
This project we've applied for permits for this project, and we're hoping to begin work on it late August and then get a permission to operate probably in October. But the Monroe project with another 800 homes, we've also applied for permits there as well. I don't think they'll be completed at the same time because it's a much larger project. But for the folks in Old Bridge, there'll be 900 spots for them to take advantage of. And this, even though it's not an Old Bridge project, I assured the mayor, because he is a good negotiator, I assured the mayor that 30% discount would continue for those additional 800 spots for anyone that didn't get in.
Okay.
Anyone else on the council? Mr. Garcia?
Good evening. My question is, you had mentioned there was no contract. What does that mean as far as a contract?
No long-term contract. So when I enroll in this online, it will say that the contract is that we will make the electricity and deliver the electricity, and that you'll pay for the electricity. But you're not, if you decided after a month or after a week or whatever that you did not want to be part of the program anymore, you simply notify us and you leave and you're removed.
That's where I'm confused. So if I was a homeowner, you put panels on my house, I can choose to get out of it?
Yeah, these aren't panels on your home, though, Councilman. These are panels on, remember, these are panels on industrial roofs. So all you're doing is enrolling. If you think about a rooftop full of panels, you're essentially saying, reserve those 3 for me. So there's no panels on your home. You're just going to take the electricity from those panels. Yeah.
I had panels years ago. I had a 20-year contract, and I thought it was horrible, quite honest with you.
I wouldn't put them on mine, but that's personal
It made it
preference.
sound so good. And then when I sold my house, the new owner has to agree to take it over.
Take it over, yeah.
And I thought it was just, luckily she took it over. But I wasn't happy with it.
I don't disagree with you, and I think one of the things that the board did when they looked at this is said, how do we deal with some of the third-party energy which wasn't received well? How do we deal with the fact that people would love to be involved with solar but don't want panels on their home, then have a difficulty selling them, and all these other things that happen, or holes in the roof? This is a way that other states have done this, and I think New Jersey's model and the Board of Public Utilities did a marvelous job in terms of the first couple of years of making the program better and using some of the experience that other states had to put this, this program together.
Can you tell me how long you've been doing this?
Our company's since 2012.
And what are some of the, do you have any complaints from residents?
For the community solar, I mean, occasionally, Councilman, occasionally you'll have someone who gets to, so in the first year projects, a good question, the first year projects, we asked the BPU to help us get energy aggregation. In other words, just get everything on one bill. For the first year project, things are coming on 2 bills. That won't happen for your project. So I will get a JCP&L bill, and then I will get a separate bill from Solar Landscape. That's caused some confusion for people. Even though it clearly shows on my JCP&L bill that I used $100 electricity and it was offset by the solar project, it still has, we've had some confusion. So by and large, have we had some people that didn't understand that? Yeah, and we spent some time explaining to them. If they're unhappy with that or don't understand or continue to understand it, they don't have to stay in the program.
Okay, and that percentage is for the energy, it's not delivery, right? So in other words, JCP&L charges me a delivery charge, right? And then I get charged for my usage.
Correct.
So where do you come in there?
The majority of the savings is on usage. There is some delivery savings as well. And I can send, if you'd like to, I can send the council members kind of a sample bill that shows that.
And I see you have the project on 516, right?
Yes.
So do you have any other plans for additional?
We continue to talk to, we submitted about 80 megawatts in year 2, and we received 51 megawatts. That's the lion's share of the rooftop project. So we'll continue to work to do that. And yes, there are some commercial projects in Old Bridge that we're looking at. And certainly Middlesex County is a place that quite a bit of these projects are going to continue to pop up. One of the difficulties is, for example, in Perth Amboy, that's PSE&G. So even though you would qualify presumably because you're neighboring, they would consider to be a neighboring municipality, it's a different utility. So the way that these projects work and the reason that you qualify for Monroe is you border Monroe. They won't let us build a project, for example, Burlington County, that people here can enroll in. They want it to be pretty local.
So we have a number of projects, warehouses being built in Old Bridge. Have you reached out to?
We have, and will continue to. For if you think about it for the commercial business owner, just to get this lease payment, to not be concerned about anything that the solar panels do, whether they make electricity or don't, whether we enroll people or don't, they're still going to get a lease payment on a monthly basis. It's been very, very well received by the commercial real estate industry, particularly logistics centers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I just have one question for you. I saw that you were talking about the Perth Amboy Housing Authority at one point being involved. What role do they play in Perth Amboy?
In Perth Amboy, they have a master meter project that we've subscribed. So we're subscribing one of their entire buildings, which is all low to moderate income residents.
Right.
Because it's master meter, technically the housing authority is getting the discount, right? So they're saving the money. So then they have to sign an affidavit and show the way that they're returning that savings to their residents. That's part of what we're doing as well. I was mentioning to the mayor that what we're doing with a project in a township in Monmouth is we're using a smaller project like this to power an entire low to moderate income building in Monmouth County as well.
Okay, so our housing authority, Mr. Paschetti, you're on our housing authority. So what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I'm very interested in, the program because anytime somebody can save money on their electric, and, I assume that in the next couple years, electric costs are going to go up, skyrocket.
So the housing authority would be interested.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
And I looked at some of the housing authority buildings, and I think it's all individual metered. Mm-hmm. So what we do in a situation like that is we do tabling, we meet with residents, we explain how it works, and we just continue to go back.
Right, because we don't have public housing. We have, a different type of program here in Old Bridge, but I'm sure that they would be greatly interested in something like this. Okay.
Thank you, yeah.
Mayor Henry, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Just that we support this program. The big difference in this one and the one that we've been dealing with is this is an opt-in. Right. You have to choose. You have to go out of your way. You have to go online. Not like the programs in the past. And a few months ago, you remember the public was here wanting to have access, and here it is. Mm-hmm. Opt in and get your access to clean energy at a reduced rate, as opposed to maybe a little higher rate that was being proposed at the time for electric. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to offer this to affordable housing. And also, we'd like to make this available to our volunteers.
Absolutely. Deserve that.
Yeah, one final thing.
Be an incentive.
Because the mayor just pointed out something I didn't want to forget. In terms of the cost reduction, there's no escalator, there's no increase. The way that the board set this up is our rate always has to be 25% less than what they would otherwise pay with JCP&L.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
So if JCP&L goes up, we're going to go up, but still be 25% less. If they go down, of course, we'll go down, but always 25% less.
All right, thank you very much. I think Mr. Paschetti, you may want to reach out to him since he is our liaison to the Housing Authority. Okay. And I think that's a demographic that people would appreciate knowing about.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Appreciate it, everybody. Thank you.
If you have any literature, if you hand it up to me, I can pass it out for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too.
Is that his computer? No. All right. Okay. Thank you. Next will be our bill list. Mrs. Walker.
July 12th, 2022, payroll, $986,608.67. Payroll overtime, $28,913.52. July 12th, 2022, Payroll, $1,076,264.86. Payroll overtime, $41,645.60.
Motion?
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. De Palma. And Ms. Shapiro, who is our acting VA, good evening and welcome. Can you please give us a breakdown?
Thank you, Council President. Total payroll overtime, as Councilwoman Walker indicated, is $41,645.60 for pay period ending June 24th, 2022. There was a slight uptick in that payroll period because of primary elections. Sworn police overtime in the amount of $27,837.79. Deduct grants in the amount of $2,489.50. Deduct ETO for $4,988.27. Deduct accreditations in the amount of $4,550.63 for a total overtime of $15,809.39, representing 296.25 men and women hours. During this time period, there were 3 injured on duty or light duty, and there was 1 officer quarantined. During the pay period for July 8th, 2022, as Councilwoman Walker indicated, the overtime was $28,913.52. There were no upticks in that pay period. Sworn police overtime in the amount of $21,210.17. Deduct grants in the amount of $822.20. Deduct ETO in the amount of $3,088.41 for a total of $17,299.56, representing 219.50 man and women hours. During that time period, there were also 3 officers on light duty or injured on duty, and 1 officer was quarantined.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Shapiro. Roll call, please.
Councilperson DeCaro.
Yes.
Councilperson De Palma.
Yes.
Councilperson Desai. Councilperson Garcia.
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti is away from the dais. Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses.
Okay, thank you very much. Next will be approval of minutes of previous meetings. There are several here that are on the agenda. I'm sorry?
7 yeses.
Okay, all right, thank you, 7. Okay, thank you. As I said, there's several approval of minutes here on the agenda. I will read them out. If anyone, when you vote, if you have to abstain from one particular month or, week, you can do that, okay? All right, so it's resolution approving the council combined minutes of April 26, 2022, May 10th, 2022, May 24th, 2022, June 14th, 2022, and executive meeting minutes of May 24th, 2022, and June 14th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. De Palma.
Roll call. Councilperson DeCaro.
Yes.
Councilperson De Palma.
Yes.
Councilperson Desai.
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia.
I'd like to abstain for June 14th meeting, as I was not here.
Abstain June 14th. Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti is still away from the dais. Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes.
That's 7 yeses.
Okay, the next will be resolutions for approving combined meetings, and these are in the year 2021. Okay, so it is January 19th, 2021, January 26th, 2021, April 13th, 2021, June 22nd, 2021, September 28th, 2021, October 12th, 2021, October 26th, 2021, November 9th, 2021, December 14th, 2021, December 28th, 2021, and executive meeting minutes of December 14th, 2021, and December 28th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Roll call. Councilperson DeCaro?
Abstain.
Councilperson DePalma?
Yes.
Councilperson Desai?
Abstain.
Councilperson Garcia?
Abstain.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Councilperson Paschetti is still away from
Off
the
duty.
dais. Councilperson Walker?
Yes.
And Council President Sohar?
Yes.
7 yeses. I'm sorry, 4 yeses, 3 abstentions.
Listen, that was a lot of
Yikes.
talking there. Okay. Next is public hearing for those ordinances for second reading. And the first one is H1, which is Wawa Store, number 989, County Route 527 and Texas Road, block number 22000, Lot 1, application 35-15Z, bond release. Mrs. Shapiro has her second hat on tonight. Good evening.
Thank you, Council. This was an application that was in front of our planning board as a preliminary and final major site plan approval for the addition of new diesel tanks and a dispenser and reconfiguring of the existing gasoline and fuel dispensers. There were really no on-site improvements. This is for the Wawa that was at the intersection of County Route 527 and Texas Road. We had inspected the bonded site improvements at the time and found that everything was completed satisfactorily. The posted performance guarantee for the project in the form of bond was $28,921.86, 10% cash portion in the amount of $3,213.54. There would be no maintenance bond on this application based on the new bonding laws. We just ask that the applicant be prepared to pay any outstanding escrow charges on the account. And I just want to make a note that the memo that I had dated May 23rd, 2022 had the incorrect block number on it. It is 22,100, not 22,000. And the application number is correct, 35-15, but that's a P in front of the planning board and not a Z. And I just want to make a note of that for resolution purposes. I do recognize that I believe sitting next to me is Wawa's attorney. So
That's correct.
Good
Duncan
evening.
Prime. Yes, good evening.
Can we
Duncan.
have your name for the record,
Yes,
please?
Duncan Prime from the firm of Prime and Tuvel. For the record, on behalf of Wawa Inc. Ms. Shapiro is accurate in everything she just said. We're here for release of the bond, and Wawa is prepared to pay any escrows that may be due.
Okay, so that's a P, not a Z, and it's not my cheaters. Okay.
That's right.
I just want to make sure. Okay. Does anyone from the council have any questions? Mr. Paschetti?
I just want to make a comment. That corner, that Wawa corner, is impeccable. It's kept very clean. It's really nice. I mean, if you remember before it was a Wawa, it was blighted. It was disgusting. So I just want to kudos to the proprietor.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else from council? No, then I'll open it up for the public. Is there anyone in the public who would like to come up and have any questions or concerns about this? Seeing no hands, I will call it the public portion, and I will ask someone for a motion.
Move it.
I'll move to release as per engineer's report.
Okay.
Second?
Yeah. Dr. Greenberg and Mr. Desai, please.
Roll call. Councilperson DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilperson DePalma?
Yes.
Councilperson Desai?
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia?
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Councilperson Paschetti?
Yes.
Councilperson Walker?
Yes.
Council President Sohar?
Yes.
Yes, 7 yeses.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Madam President. Thank
And
you,
you have a
Ms.
nice
Shapiro.
evening. Thank you. And thank you, Mrs. Shapiro. Okay, next will be Ordinance H2, Ordinance Revising Table of Organization under Chapter 5, Section 5-95A, Number of Sergeants from 16 to 17. Good evening, gentlemen.
Thank you, Council. As you remember, we were here a few weeks ago and made a presentation of why we needed an additional sergeant, increased supervision due to increased obligations that the department has now with the body cameras and the ability to review those tapes, and also create a sergeant to have a utility type position where we can move around. And Acting Chief Scott Gumbrick can answer any questions about technical issues. What's this new sergeant position we'll be doing, and what the schedule, if you need to know that. But I believe there was full support from the council at the time. And as the department is younger, there is a need for additional supervision. So.
Is there anyone from the council who wants to ask a question of our acting captain? No? Anyone on this side? I mean, acting chief. Oh, my goodness. I gave you a demotion. I apologize. That'll be all over.
Kudos for your grandbaby.
I know. That'll be all over the airwaves. Oh, my God. I apologize. Acting chief. Does anyone have a question? No? Okay. Well, thank you. Okay, so if no one has a question, I'll open it to the public. Does anyone have a question for the acting chief or the mayor? Okay, no. Seeing no hands, I will close the public and I will ask for a motion.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mrs. Walker. Oh, Lord, that's a YouTube moment.
Roll call. Councilperson DeCaro.
Yes.
Councilperson DePalma.
Yes.
Councilperson Desai.
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia.
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti.
Yes.
Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes, and thank you for all the hard work. It's appreciated.
Thank you for
It
your
really
support,
is.
Council.
All right, 8 yeses this time.
Okay. Okay, next will be H3, Ordinance of the Township of Old Bridge adopting redevelopment plan for global landfill and adjacent properties. Don't go anywhere, Mayor. Good evening.
Good evening, Council. 2 weeks back, I was here along with Mayor Henry and Mr. Shaw to make a presentation for the global landfill site, and it went back to the planning board for consistency review to see if the plan is consistent with the master plan. The planning board heard the explanation and has passed a resolution deeming it to be consistent with the master plan, and here we are at the final hearing.
Okay, thank you. Does any council member have a question after reviewing everything and the presentation that we had? No? Okay. Anyone? No? Okay, we'll open it to the public. Does anyone in the public have a question for Vina or for the mayor? No? Okay, seeing no hands, we close the public portion. I'll ask for a motion.
Move it.
Move it.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Mrs. Walker, second by Mr. Pescetti.
Roll call. Councilperson DeCaro.
Yes.
Councilperson DePalma.
Yes.
Councilperson Desai.
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia.
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti.
Yes.
Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes.
8 yeses.
Thank you very much, Vina, for all your
Thank you,
hard work.
Council, and with your support, another great project.
Yes,
for all
yes.
of us in town.
Yep,
Thank you.
this is a very positive for the town. It really is. And thank you for all the work. It's a lot of hard work. Okay, next will be H4, Block Party Gates Court. Good evening. Come on up, guys. How are you? Yes, please. How are you?
Press the button.
Green?
Good.
Yeah.
There you go. Good evening. How
Brad
are you?
Sperber, 50 Gates Court. Okay. I was told to come because you guys might have some questions. Block party on Saturday, the 17th.
Okay, I'll let the
16th.
clerk take over from here, the 16th,
Sorry.
correct?
I apologize.
Okay.
Yes, Council President, the clerk's office has received all the required documents for the said block party. They have been notified that they cannot block the street, need to maintain a passageway for emergency vehicles up and down the alley, and that they're in compliance with everything, and the clerk's office sees no reason to deny the request.
Well, this isn't their first party, and they do throw a mean party.
Thank you.
But anyway, I will, does any of the council members have any questions? No?
to say it's a
Yeah, we love it.
That was going to
party.
be my question.
How about anybody in the public have a question for them about their block party? They want to go now.
All invited.
Okay, so seeing no hands for the public, I will close the public portion, and I will ask for a motion.
Move it. Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg, second by Mrs. Walker, and we will have a roll call, please.
Councilperson DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilperson DePalma?
Yes.
Councilperson Desai?
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia?
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli? Councilperson Pasquitti?
Yes.
Councilperson Walker?
Yes, it's one of the best block parties ever.
Council President Sohar?
Yes.
That's 8 yeses.
And also, I'd just like for the record, this gentleman and his wife were really spearheaded the Morganville Road improvements, and they are coming, right, Mrs. Shapiro? Morganville Road is being addressed? Yeah. So finally, I know it's been a long time in coming. We've been, but you have been adamant and you have been
Thank you.
pursuing it very much. So I thank you.
Am I allowed to mention one other thing?
Yeah,
It has
sure.
nothing to do with block party?
No worries.
Bulk pickup.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to look into that too.
Everyone around us has it, and it would be a great thing if it could ever happen, because it just never happens in our area. So if anything can happen like that, that would be great.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Well,
Thank you,
thank you for
everybody.
your input, and we look forward to seeing you. Enjoy your block party. Have a good night, guys. Okay. Next will be H5, Block Party, Denise Court. Boy, we're going to be all active, all these block parties. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so the same with this block party. The clerk's office is in receipt of all the required documentation for the said block party on Denise Court, and the office sees no reason to deny the request for the block party.
Okay, very good. Great. Does anyone from council have a question? No? Okay, seeing no hands, I'll ask if anyone in the public would like to come up with a question. All right. Seeing no hands, close the public, and I'll ask for a motion.
Move it.
Can you just do me a favor and enter your name into the record?
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry.
Oh, my name is Vicky Solar.
I'm sorry, who motioned?
Ms. Walker.
Ms. Walker, and who seconded?
Who was it? Mo. Okay, Dr. Greenberg. Okay.
Roll call, Councilperson DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilperson DePalma?
Yes.
Councilperson Desai?
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli? Councilperson Pasquitti?
Yes.
Councilperson Walker?
Yes.
Council President Sohar?
Yes, enjoy your day.
8 yeses.
Good night. Okay, next will be ordinances for first reading, FR1. Ordinance of the Township of Old Bridge, County of Middlesex, New Jersey, rescinding and replacing Chapter 198 of the Code of the Township of Old Bridge entitled Flood Damage Prevention. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Walker, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Roll call, Councilperson DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilperson DePalma?
Yes.
Councilperson Desai?
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia?
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti?
Yes.
Councilperson Walker?
Yes.
Council President Sohar?
Yes.
Public hearing set for August 9th, 2022, and that was 8 yeses.
Okay, next is FR2, Ordinance Amending Chapter 10, Traffic, Section 10-19.7B of the Code of the Township of Old Bridge, 191 Orchard Avenue. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Walker, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Roll call, Councilperson DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilperson DePalma?
Yes.
Councilperson Desai?
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia?
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli? Councilperson Pasquitti?
Yes.
Councilperson Walker?
Yes.
Council President Sohar?
Yes.
Public hearing set for August 9th, 2022, and that was 8 yeses.
Next is FR3, Ordinance of the Township of Old Bridge amending 108-8 of the Chapter 108 of the Code of the Township of Old Bridge, currently reserved to be entitled Special Inspection Fees. Do I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Roll call, Councilperson DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilperson DePalma.
Yes.
Councilperson Desai.
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia.
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti.
Yes.
Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes.
Public hearing set for August 9th, 2022, and that was 8 yeses also.
Okay, FR4, Ordinance of the Township of Old Bridge, amending 394-1 of the Chapter 394 of the Code of the Township of Old Bridge entitled Holiday Sale of Flowers and Plants. Do I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Roll call. Councilperson DeCaro.
Yes.
Councilperson DePalma.
Yes.
Councilperson Desai.
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia.
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti.
Yes.
Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes.
Public hearing set for August 9th, 2022, and 8 yeses.
Next is FR5, Ordinance providing funding for Municipal Complex courtyard improvements for the Township of Old Bridge and appropriating $160,000 for such purpose. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. DePalma.
Roll call. Councilperson DeCaro.
No.
No. Councilperson DePalma.
Yes.
Councilperson Desai.
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia.
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti.
Yes.
Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes.
Public hearing set for August 9th, 2022. That was 7 yeses and 1 no.
Okay, next is discussion ordinances. Ordinance establishing a new Article 3 in Chapter 325 of the Code of the Township of Old Bridge, entitled Chapter 325, entitled Electric Vehicle Charging Stations. Good evening again.
I'm sorry. Good evening, Council. Sorry about that. As you may recall, in 2020, the Town Council passed a resolution requiring electric charging station on all commercial properties on Route 9 and 18 and Route 35. At that time, when we wrote the ordinance, there wasn't too much clarity on what happens with township-owned parcels. It was still in an infancy stage, so we left out the township-owned properties. We focused on private development as we were working on a couple of redevelopment projects, so it was important to have that in place. 2 years later, now here we are, Mr. Lenning, and I don't want to steal his thunder, has worked extremely hard to secure grants for electric charging stations that can be installed on township-owned parcels. So in front of you is an ordinance for review, and we're hoping that if the council is comfortable, we can move it to the first reading. But this ordinance relates to electric charging station on township-owned parcels or parking facilities that are operated by the township. It has requirements on design standards where there can be placed a cap on how many of them can be electric charging stations, because now if we are saying that a non-electric car cannot occupy that space, then we have to ensure that there is ample parking left for those who don't use electric cars. So there is a cap on how much that can occupy. And then the most important, 2 years back, we didn't have clarity on what would be the fees that would be charged for charging. So now we have come up with that requirement, because there are other municipalities that are also implementing the same sort of program. So I hand it over to Casey. We're very excited because we already have 8 charging stations that are coming up soon. Casey.
Hello, Council. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to give this brief presentation. When I was tasked with exploring electric charging stations, I knew very little about it, to be quite honest, and there's a quick learning curve. You know, I jumped right into it. I reached out to a lot of other municipalities to determine what was the best course of action. You know, I also worked with every department within the township, and this isn't just a Casey effort. This is a township-wide effort, from administration, planning, engineering, code enforcement. We really put a lot of effort into getting these grants, you know, available for the township. So the first part of the grant application is identifying a proper location for it, and they give you a lot of strict requirements. You know, the most important, it has to be township-owned property. It has to be on a major highway. Power supply available. Depending on what level of charger you obtain, there needs to be parking, you know, retail, restaurants, you know, active activities for residents or the users to utilize while charging. So what we did was we obtained the grant, and we looked at what was going to be the easiest location to get up and running first. So we determined that the Inverness Park and Ride would be the best. We had localized power. So if you look at this slide, the red arrow indicates where the charging station's installed. About 15 feet away is the power supply. So it was a really easy install. And then if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, that's an actual picture of the township's first charging station. There's proper signage. It's a well-lit parking lot, so even if a user comes at night, it's a safe location for them. And so we're excited to turn that on and then have our first users come out and take care of it. So now the next step is the municipal complex. So we obtain funding for 2 chargers, which will be located in front of the Public Works Department. Again, we look for the best power supply, and Public Works has ample power with all the equipment and stuff that we have. We have a big feed coming in from the street. So we're going to put 2 chargers right there. It's a really nice location. Residents come to the township, they come to a meeting, or they walk across the street to the restaurants. They walk over to the new Cottrell Farm Park. So there's a lot of different things that they could utilize when charging. So we reached out to other towns to determine what would be an appropriate rate for the charging, because when you read the grant, they tell you, obviously you have to cover your costs. You don't want to make money, and it has to be reasonable and affordable for the residents. So we again reached out to the other townships, saw what they were charging. We reviewed our current electric rate that we pay. So we determined that $2 for the first 2 hours is appropriate, and then for the 3rd and 4th hour of charging, we bump it up to $5 per hour. Currently, we don't want to go past 4 hours. These are our first charging stations. We want to make sure they're available. We don't want somebody to utilize them for 12 or 14 hours. So this gives them enough power where they can come, charge, and go back to their residence. So we're excited about that. The permits are currently being reviewed by code enforcement for the municipal complex and the Westminster Park and Ride. So within the next couple months, they'll be ready to go and be operational. If you look at I'm sorry, could you go back? If you look at this slide, this is the Westminster Park and Ride, and where the red arrow, that indicates where the first charger is going to be located. those parking spots are closest to the highway. So in addition to apps in the car itself telling you there's a charging station there, it's visible. And, with police, they'll be able to, drive by, see if anybody's there and enforce it, make sure it's safe. Again, it's a well-lit parking lot that, it's available for everybody. This parking lot, I don't want to jump ahead, but we actually have another grant application in to obtain an additional charger, and that's actually a level 3 charger, which is a fast charger, much stricter criteria. We're hoping to be selected. We have a really strong application, presented to the DEP for that charger as well. So we're excited, and we hope that we obtain that. If you could go to the next slide. So to end, when we looked at the charging systems, we wanted to go with a standard charger. Some vehicles have a proprietary plug, but it's actually a J1772 plug. That's the standard plug for all major manufacturers that those cars will have. So that was part of the criteria for us to make sure that it was available for everybody. If a particular vehicle has a different plug, that vehicle typically comes with an adapter. So they could still utilize this. So it's available for everybody. And we're really proud of this. Again, every department played a huge role in getting us to where we're at today. And I would just like to thank you for this opportunity. And if you have any questions, I'm glad to answer them.
Thank you for a nice presentation. Council on my left, any questions? Okay, I'll start on the end. Mr. Desai, no? Okay, Mrs. DeCaro? Okay.
Just a quick question. So the Westminster Park and Ride and the Inverness Park and Ride, isn't that permit parking only? So, and they park and then they commute to the city. So,
yes, it is.
How's that going to work?
In the grant, it encouraged you to install these charging stations at park and rides. So in our beginning, in the infancy of the program, we're providing chargers for passerbyers. Somebody that's traveling a long distance, they need to stop to just, top off their batteries to continue to where they're going or to return home. You will not be required to have a parking permit to utilize these 2 spots.
Okay.
There'll be proper signage posted. Okay. And in addition to that, a commuter should not park their vehicle here and go to their job for the day. And
so it's not, those particular spots won't be for the commuters. They'll be specifically for, like you said, the passerbys or whatever. Okay.
Strictly charging.
Got it.
Actually, if you read the ordinance, there is a stipulation that you cannot park beyond 4 hours. So 4 hours is the maximum you can charge.
On the charging station, right. So that's why I was getting confused.
Right. So no idling is permitted. And it is consistent with what we have even on private developments. So where some of the developments went through planning board approvals, that was the same stipulation, that if it has an electric charging station, a regular car cannot park, or if you've already charged, you can occupy that stall beyond that point.
Right. Okay. Very good. And they'll be designated as...
Yes, that is correct.
Got it.
Okay. Mr. De Palma?
Not so much a question, just Casey, thank you very much going out and getting the grants. And Vina, I know one of the first conversations I think you and I had when I came on council in 2020 was you kind of tutoring me as the ways of what goes on in the town, and then me asking you, why don't we have electric chargers? So great work. I know it's, a few years in the making, but things like this don't come very easy. And the grants that are coming in, the fact that it's not going to cost us anything is fabulous. So great job.
Okay, thank you. Anyone, Mrs. Walker?
How will you enforce somebody going to New York, plugging their car and going to work and not getting a permit?
Within the EV charging community, from what I've heard, everybody's very respectful. They understand there's not a lot of chargers out there currently, so they park, they charge, they leave. The unit itself, there are some safeguards built in that we can deploy. So after 4 hours, we could shut the power off. So now you're parked there, but you're not receiving the power. If we ran into an issue, you could also, if you plug in and you park and leave, you could charge what they call an idling fee. So you're not receiving power, and you're being charged for that spot at that time.
And actually, Casey and I discussed it this afternoon too, that maybe when we come in for the first reading or the second reading, we might add that as a caveat that beyond 4 hours you will charge. But I just wanted to be a little conservative, and I didn't get a chance to speak to our BA or the township attorney, but I thought that if you go beyond 4 hours, then there should be a penalty. Only then you will move your car. So it's a thought in progress. So hopefully you will see something when you see the final version of the ordinance.
Anyone else over here? Dr. Greenberg?
Okay. So obviously, it's different per model car, electric car, but what would you say is the average to charge an electric car? What amount of time?
Well, that's a very difficult question because every manufacturer is different. So, and every level of charge is different. You have a level 1, which is typically a household charger. These 4 chargers that we were able to obtain are level 2. I believe it's 50 miles per hour is what these provide, depending if your car can accept that.
So if I may, so typically I've noticed that the chargers that we have in our single family homes, right, those take like 8-9 hours to get fully charged. When it's a level 2 charger, which is this one, it takes between 4 to 5 hours to fully charge your car. When it's a DC, which is the fastest, which is like Tesla's, they have a much shorter time. So you might be able to charge your car in like 45 minutes. So it depends on what we get. And now at this level, we have level 2s. We're hoping to get the fast charging now. So we should be having level 2s and level 3s.
Mr. Pischetti and then Mr. Garcia.
Yeah, thank you, Casey. Very nice. My question is, those lots, those commuter lots, do they fill up?
Unfortunately, since COVID, there's a lot of parking available, so, and for Westminster, there's 252 parking spots. So two spots isn't really going to have a negative effect on the commuter. And then the Westminster Park and Ride has 398 parking spots. So we're going to be putting 1 charger currently. That's 2 spots. If we get the fast charger, that would be an additional 2 spots. So it's only 4 parking spots.
Yeah. So my question really is, do those lots ever really fill up? Where now people are going to complain, hey, I'm a commuter, I don't need the charging, and no one's using the charging anyway.
Unfortunately, since COVID, the numbers are way down.
What was it before? Do you remember?
We were almost at capacity. There was different days. Obviously, on a Friday there's less commuters. But Monday to Thursday they were pretty well filled.
Okay. And what's our liability as a town if somebody brings their car in there and something goes wrong, and there's an incident? What's the township liability?
I would assume that's all covered under the township's umbrella insurance policy, but that's a great question, and we'll definitely reach out to all our insurance companies to make sure that we're covered with these units.
Yeah, quick question. First of all, thank you guys. These are mostly used for emergency vehicles, in a sense, like I couldn't imagine sitting there for an hour just to top my car off. That's a long time. So I'm assuming they got maybe a couple miles left on the charge, and they have no choice but to do this. Is that pretty much what it's for?
Having a gasoline internal combustion engine, you have the benefit, you pull up to the pump, within 5 minutes, you're back on the road. When you buy an electric vehicle, you've made that decision that if you travel outside of your range, you're going to have to stop. And that's part of the reason for the criteria, where they want to have shopping, restaurants, parks where you could go walk around and charge your vehicle. So it's, again, this is a level 2, so we're right in mid-range where, like with the Inverness Park and Ride, I see a family member driving to your house. You don't have a charger because you have a gasoline vehicle. You go to the Inverness, you plug your car in for 4 hours, you visit, you get dropped back off, and then you can go back to your house.
Anyone else? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much for a great presentation. And you did ask about if we could move it to first reading. So I will ask what the council's pleasure is. Okay,
move it.
Okay, so Mr. De Palma made a motion.
Second.
Second by Mrs. DeCaro.
Roll call, Councilperson DeCaro.
Yes.
Councilperson De Palma.
Yes.
Councilperson Desai.
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia.
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquini.
Yes.
Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes, thank you very much for a very good presentation.
Public hearing set for August 9th, 2022.
Next will be ordinance amending Old Bridge Township Code, Chapter 10, Section 8.7 and 8.9, prohibited parking and residential permit parking around Duhernal Lake. Good evening.
Good evening again, Council.
Hi, Council. We started taking a look at the Duhernal area because the police department brought to our attention a serious sort of events that are happening around Duhernal Lake and the wooded area around that. When I had prepared a memo dated May 19, 2022, I had entitled it Prohibited Parking and Residential Permit Parking Around Duhernal Lake. It really goes, if you take a look at this aerial, you'll see that almost in the upper center of the page, there's a blue font which identifies Duhernal Lake. But really, this is the wooded area that encompasses the area around Duhernal. And what the police department has noticed is that there are a lot of vehicles that are coming and parking on the surrounding streets that dead end or abut Duhernal Lake wooded area, and then unload their all-terrain vehicles and then just spend the day in the woods. It's a dangerous situation, and I know that the police, our acting chief, Gumprick, is here, and our mayor is here to tell you about just what's been going on in the wooded area. But what the engineering department has done is done a parking study, gone out into the field and seen what the parking is like on several streets around the Duhernal area, specifically Joy Lane, Sodden Lane, Van Tynes Lane, Sunset Avenue, Riverdale Avenue, West Greystone Road, and Emily Drive. And so when we were taking a look at the conditions of parking on these roads, we also took a look at aerial photography. We have the benefit of using Nearmap, which actually gives us the view, an aerial view of each of these roadways every 3 months for probably about a 5 to 6 year period, depending on where you are in town. So it gives us like an added view of what parking is like. Now, some of the roads that I had listed, the width of the road doesn't really support any on-street parking. A road, for example, like Joy Lane is about 11 feet to 14 feet wide. So really, when anybody's parking on that, they're really parking on their property, just the vegetated area that's in front of their homes. Something like, for example, Riverdale Avenue is about 22 feet. Van Tynes is about 15 feet at its narrowest. So it really doesn't support the parking. What we had done is we took each of the streets and we gave a close-up, a close-up view. So what you see on Emily Drive here in this first view is there's a blue line and then there's a red line. And what we were doing was we were saying, well, the red line could be prohibited parking, no parking on that side of the street. And then the blue line could be supported by residential parking. Now, on Emily Drive, we would do then the blue line on the southerly side of Emily Drive as you approach North Street, and then up against the wooded area, you would then put prohibited parking areas. When you get to, for example, Joy Lane, which really isn't a roadway, you really need to have residential parking only. Nobody goes back there unless they live in these homes. When you're looking at residential parking for Riverdale Avenue, this is the only one I want to change a bit, because on the northern side of Riverdale, there are those homes, and people might want to park on that side of the street. So I would shorten the red or the prohibited parking to the east and west on the northerly side of the road, and leave it as permit residential parking where it fronts the residential homes, and then permit parking only on the southerly side of the road for the entire length. Then as you go onto Sodden, again, a very short roadway, you're really only on that street to visit or to live in these homes. So that would be residential parking. And then for Sunset Avenue, as you abut the Duhernal property, right, there's going to be no parking on that side of the street. And then the blue is really on the easterly side of the street, or on that southern portion where you have residences right in front of that. And that's because that street is limited. So we don't want to make it prohibitive for the people that live on the street, but just for these people that are trying to visit and get into the wooded areas. Lastly, West Greystone Road, we would say, and of course it's narrow, so we would say no parking on either side. Again, I'm open to discussing the area in front of the residential area, and then revising that to ensure that they have access to parking in front of their homes. Then there's one more street, and that's Van Tynes. Van Tynes, very narrow. Parking would be permitted, residential only, because what they do is they go all the way down the street, they hit that dead end, they just leave their trailers there, they dismount, and then they get into the woods. Really, this is what my memo says. It gives you the description of what the roadway characteristic is, what we found when we were out there, and what we were recommending. So just with the caveat that these images would be then revised to show that in the area where there's residential, and I showed you those wooded areas, that we would probably amend it to include that residential permit parking would be in front of those homes. I know that the chief and the mayor have something to add to, just what we've been experiencing as a township.
Good evening, Council, again. One of the things that this issue with Duhernal has been well before my tenure. It's been an ongoing thing when I was a patrolman back in 1993, and it continues to be that same situation. We're not naive to think enough that this is just outsiders coming to Old Bridge, dropping their vehicles and going into the woods. But we can control these vehicles by either permitting or prohibited parking in these areas, especially what Nicole had said on the West Greystone. That seems to be one of our bigger areas where we've tried signage in the past in conjunction with the borough of Saraville. Our signs are torn down, knocked over. If we do try to put in some type of obstruction to prevent these people from going in, they just go right around it. They create their own new paths into there. One of the things, I don't know if it's in the packet or not, but Sergeant Mataconis, our traffic and safety officer in charge, had just did a quick CAD search titled Dirt Bikes going back to 2015. And that ends up being 5 pages. But we believe that's going to be underrepresented because we've also put in those type of situations as area checks, unwanted parties, things like that. So we believe these 5 pages is probably greater than that. So it's definitely a concern in the Duhernal area. It's also a concern throughout the rest of the town on township property that we're just trying to get in front of. But we have identified as Duhernal as the biggest issue we're dealing with right now. So that's where we're looking for your support to possibly push this through. Obviously, we know the residents are going to have concerns with those areas by their homes, but we want to at least get the ball rolling to get some support to try to alleviate some of these problems.
Okay. Mayor, do you have anything to add?
As acting chief said, this has been an ongoing problem for decades. But it seems to be getting out of hand over the last couple of years with people coming from out of state. It's hundreds of acres. It's dirt bike ATV paradise. Unfortunately, when something happens back there, we have to commit resources, and Seems like every weekend, we had a very serious accident back there. This past weekend, we've had at least 2 fatalities right there. And basically, it's a property owner, Sayreville, the Township of Sayreville now owns Stu Hernal. And it's a failure of them to maintain or secure their property. I can't believe that with all the grant monies that are available out there, that they cannot fence their property in like it would be any other. And so it's infrastructure. It's where they get their water from. So you don't want vehicles back there. We've had to pull vehicles out of the water back there. People come from all over to have big parties back at the lake. There's no doubt in my mind that there's underage drinking going on. And then they get on these dirt bikes and come out. And it's not just people from out of town. It's people from the area. I grew up on the dirt bikes back there, but it's out of control. As the bikes they've gotten faster, they've gotten bigger, and people's behavior has gotten worse over the years, and lack of respect. This is out of a lot of people have complained. But there are a lot of people who support the dirt bike. So we need to be very clear with the residents in that area that they want this. If they don't want us to take this initiative, then we won't. So we're going to be clear with them, Nicole, as far as notification is concerned.
Have you spoken to them yet?
We have not.
No, this was our first step to see how council would react. We still have to review our draft ordinance with our legal department. We have to review, Sergeant Maniconis from our police department had made suggestions on adding information into, based on his findings, and we want to make sure that that gets included in our ordinance. So there's a couple of steps. This was just our first blush to get in front of you to, have our residents sort of listen to what our concerns are, and then also to go back and really by certified mail notify our residents that this is what we're thinking of, and if they have any concerns to please contact us and just get their feedback. So really this is the initial step. We won't be back in August because we need to do that, outreach, but hopefully sometime in September we can come back, give you what our findings are, and then at that point, if they are favorable, we would move to first reading sometime in September.
And what was your thinking in regards to no parking instead of just making it all residential parking?
You know what? It was something just to, sort of make it a little bit more restrictive. You're coming there and then there's no parking. But that is a good suggestion. I mean, we can make it residential parking. I have to really caucus with the clerk's office to see how permitted parking works in town as well, because that's not something I'm familiar with. What happens when you have guests over? What do you provide them? Or would the residents that are in favor or like the dirt bikes or have no problems with them, then, give that out. There is something that we have to take a look at to see if what we're doing is either too cumbersome or if it's, if the majority of the residents find favor in it, So there's still a lot of, investigation. Our police department did come to us, and we want to make sure that, when they bring a concern to us, that we bring it to you and, have that we are investigating all avenues.
Are we obligated to do something? Isn't it a safety concern, regardless of what the tenants or residents say? I feel like we're obligated. I mean, like I said, like the mayor said, it's a safety issue.
Yeah, but you don't throw out the baby with the...
So absolutely, Councilman, there is. Stu Hernal's private property, and therefore the borough of Sayreville is really responsible for maintaining their property. What we're trying to do is assist them and assist our people by possibly pushing forward an ordinance that would prevent these people from coming into the town, parking their vehicles or trailers on the side of West Greystone or some of these other roads, and then just going into the woods for 6-7 hours. Or in some cases, even worse, driving their vehicles onto the property, unloading somewhere within the property, driving around. Unfortunately, there's been bad crashes back there. They're calling us saying, hey, I'm here. And we have no idea we're here is because Stu Hernal runs from, as you can see there, all the way down to Route 33 at the, Manalapan, Heightstown, Monroe border. So it's a big piece of property. And if we can do a little bit to maintain the area within the Old Bridge Township, then I think we need to start looking there first.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Has there been any communication with Sayreville? considering it is Saraville's property, what do they feel to do about it? Have they,
They've come to us, I believe we've had at least 2 meetings with the borough about this.
Yes, we have a dialogue with Saraville. It's almost a catch-22. It's their property, but yet it's in our jurisdiction, so we can't ask for Saraville cops to come here and patrol, right?
That's correct.
So it's our jurisdiction. We have to provide police services in that area, to that property. But Saraville needs to help with other, I believe, making it off limits, securing their property. But it's very difficult, as Scott said. They put a barrier up, they go right, they move 10 feet, and they do what they have to do with the bikes to get access to the property. So I don't think anything other than a 10-foot high fence would keep the trail bikes out, would gated to keep people out. So it's not, one size doesn't
it's
fit
our
all.
jurisdiction, but if someone gets hurt on that
They're
property,
responsible, I believe, on their property,
yeah.
yeah.
It's not Oldbridge's responsibility.
No,
And then, have you heard many complaints from residents in that area? So you are hearing complaints from them. So,
And also there's other activities that take place that we kind of encourage, fishing. There's great fishing back there in the reservoirs. And with the no parking signs, that would make that off limits to them also. So we might have to find some type of a compromise of people that are fishing in those reservoirs. But it's private property. I mean, Saraville has the authority to say no trespassing.
And that
but
would
they haven't over all this time. So they haven't taken a stance on it.
They haven't yet, but at any moment, they could say, we're not even going to allow our property for passive recreation. No fishing, no hiking, no dog walking, no bird watching. It's their property. They can shut it down completely. Their biggest concern right now are the vehicles.
But excuse me for interrupting, but you're expected to protect their property?
At least the perimeter.
The perimeter. Okay.
Just like we would any
Yeah.
resident in town.
Right.
If something's happening at their property, and we'll go there, we'll handle that situation if we're invited to. If we see something, we don't know what's going on your property unless you tell us.
Mhm.
But if we see a trailer being pulled by a pickup truck, and there's dirt and mud all over the back of that trailer, we can make that assumption that that vehicle was trailering some type of ATV, off-road vehicle, and we know the Borough of Saraville has not given permission for that type of activity on their property.
A few things. I just can't believe Saraville is not fencing it in. That's unbelievable. As far as the parking, if we did residential only parking, I believe they get 2 guest passes, but like you had mentioned, what if they are in favor of it and they give the guest parking to somebody that's doing that? Is there some way that we could maybe ban the ATVs and the dirt bikes? Can we make a ban on them?
We have that in place already.
So can we confiscate them?
We've done that already.
So nothing's working. So do you think the
fine's not high
So if there's no parking, were they going to be towed?
Well, absolutely, just like we do with any no parking area.
What if the trailer comes and drops them off and leaves, though?
If we see it, we see it. If we don't, we got get to deal with that. I mean, we could what if everything all night. We're just trying to get this started and seeing where we can go from there.
I just wish Saraville would put a fence up.
It's a lot of property.
It's frustrating, to say the least, very frustrating.
Yeah.
We know it's dangerous. We know it's having a negative impact on the people who live there. On my way here tonight, an ATV came down the wrong side of Englishtown Road at a high rate of speed. So, and it just seems more and more occurring.
It's really about safety.
All right, anybody on my left? Mrs. DeCarroll and then Mr. De Palma.
Well, a lot of my questions are getting answered as things are going, but, I think I appreciate the desire for the safety. I think that is of the utmost importance, and we don't want, accidents and anything, bad actors, hang in that area, of course. But, as one of my concerns, and you had already said, you're going to reach out to the residents to make sure that you get their feedback, because that's my biggest concern. I want to make sure that what's being done is what they want, because they're the ones that are living there and they need to give you their feedback. So, and definitely with, if they get 2 guest passes, but like, what if they're having a big party, a graduation party or something, and they're going to have more than 2 guests, like all of those little minute things would have to be worked out. So, as long as that is all taken care of, then, I think it's good.
Okay, Mr. De Palma?
Yeah, just two questions. So if we don't ban parking, can you ban trailer parking? Can we just say no trailer parking that, like, if it's attached to your truck, right? Because, instead of just outright banning parking altogether, like the mayor said, there are people that utilize it for passive recreation, fishing and stuff like that. And this will deter folks from doing it because folks may just not know. But is there a way to kind of, I don't want to say semi-ban parking, but figure out a way to ban the ones that are utilizing the area in the not ideal way?
They use a combination. Some use a trailer for the bigger vehicles, but the pickup trucks are used for the dirt bikes.
Okay.
They have the ramp, they drive right up in the back. So, again.
And if we do go with the route of a permit, is there a way to just, like, folks come for, I don't want to say a fishing license, but could they get like a temporary permit for the summer for something where they have to kind of register it, say, hey, I will be utilizing this area for fishing? Because I do know a lot of folks, on the different sides of the township will utilize it. And at least they're saying this car will utilize this for that. So if they're in there and they are breaking the rules, at least we have a record of the folks potentially that are there. And if they're not, then, there's permit parking, but the township could use it, not just the residents of the street.
Well, again, a lot of that would depend upon what the borough of Saraville is willing to allow. If they're going to, as of right now, they have not told us, we don't want any passive recreation. The last meeting I was in was, I don't want to say they are encouraging, but they're not opposed to that passive recreation. Because they know it's not the fishermen that are tearing up the wooded area, messing with their well spots and things like that. So that would be a conversation we'd probably have to have with the borough to see what they were willing to do before we even moved further, talking about specific permitting in certain areas. Because a lot of that parking on West Greystone for sure is just barely off the driven portion of the roadway. So it might not even be feasible to have them park on that side, even if they're going to go and fish, hike, or what have you. So it's definitely something we need to look at a lot further. And obviously, this is just a start. There's a lot more conversations that need to be had with our residents, with the borough of Saraville, as well as, the council themselves with their concerns.
Okay. I mean, if Saraville wants to ban use of the property, they should start putting up fences. That would solve their problem. If they don't want people using it, they should fence the property.
They have taken some effort on the road that goes in front of Johernal behind Sunset. They have guardrail both sides of that roadway, regular highway guardrail, that now people cannot park on the side of that road, and that's by their main pumping stations. So they are taking steps, slowly but surely. They have not resorted to locking the gates at night, which would present us with a problem and having to get there in an emergency. So.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'll just finish the comments by saying thank you for all the hard work. And I know it's hard because you get caught on both sides of the equation. And that's never a good place to be. And I just, like we said, we want to make sure residents are aware and they can give their opinion. You don't want it to escalate into some crazy on Facebook nonsense. This is not what this is about. This is just to make sure that people are protected and that the quality of life they have, they enjoy. And it's not being done for any other purpose. So hopefully this is where it stays and the residents will be informed and then they can give their opinion as well. Nothing has been set in stone and we don't want people to already start, So we want it to stay in a very stable environment. And I think it will. We're all professional about it and we only want the best, everybody up here for the town. So let's hope we can keep it just in that vein. But thank you very much. It was very enlightening. Okay, thank you. Next will be amending Old Bridge Township Code Chapter 250-38.1 Economic Development Opportunity District Zoning and Design Standards, PZB. Good evening again, Vina.
So, Council, you might have noticed that there is no ordinance attached to this presentation. And the reason being is, this is my initial presentation. I will be in front of you with a couple of ordinance changes. And I say that because you may recall there are two general development plans in Old Bridge. So one is the Woodhaven project, and the other one is the Oaks development. The problem with these GDPs, as they are often addressed, is they were written 20, 30 years back.
That's what we always say.
And after 30 years, things have changed. But like the land development ordinance, typically when the zoning office, planning office sees something that's different, we come present it, we change the ordinance, and we keep updating it. These general development plans, nobody really goes and looks at them. What has happened is, ever since I started working with Old Bridge, I started noticing, one, it was the timing too, because these projects were approved long back. Now, one by one, the phasing is coming to fruition. Some of them are getting built. Some of the basic things that should have been looked at were either overlooked or they were not relevant at that point. To give you an example, when Woodhaven went in front of the planning board for approvals, right, they asked for a variance on the building coverage. So the planned development, or the GDP, allowed 20%. They asked for a variance, they were granted a 10% more variance on the building coverage. What happened is, at that time, we did approve the building coverage, which means now the developer can go and build a home that is equivalent to 30%. But there was no indication of the impervious coverage. And what that implies is that you now have a single family home. Those homes are getting sold for almost $1 million, but there is no impervious coverage requirement. When they file a permit with zoning for a patio, a pool, the way land use determines is, if there is no requirement, you go back to the underlying zone, which is R120. R120 has impervious coverage, which is less than building coverage, which means none of these homeowners can actually put a pool or a patio in their backyard. Obviously, there are angry residents. They get mad at the zoning officer when we say that you can't put a pool. That was one problem. The other issue was, when this GDP was written, what you see, and I'm just going to point out here so that everybody can see, this area, which was roughly 11 acres, this right here, it was planned as OC2, which is office commercial. The problem with that was the acreage was decided, the name was decided, but there was no permitted uses associated with it. There were no bulk standards. So now the developer is required to build office commercial there, but how do we evaluate it if there is no floor area ratio requirement, there is no setback requirement, right? So last year, the developer had reached out to Mayor Henry, the business administrator, saying, okay, what do we do? Because now there are no standards. So we asked them to hold back, because simultaneously, I was seeing all these problems. And after having long discussions with our township attorney, we came to conclusion that it's best to break up the GDP and create individual zones based on what was approved, so that now we write the standards. We write the impervious coverage standards so that these residents don't have to go back to the zoning board and ask for a variance to build these pools. Or when a developer comes in to put the commercial use, they don't have to go to the zoning board because there are no standards. The underlying zone is R120, which means he gets kicked to either the zoning board or he proposes residential use on it, We want commercial there. It's Texas Road. We want uses that are more related to neighborhood commercial, light industrial, flex space kind of uses. So the EDO amendment to the EDO actually came from OC2. To begin with, I want to focus on this OC2 area, especially because the GDP was about to expire. The developer filed an application, which is actually not accurate. They have been waiting for us to come up with the zone requirements and the bulk standards. So at the next meeting, you will see an ordinance related to OC2, but I call it the EDO because we already have EDO 1. We created EDO 2 as part of SEGMA's redevelopment plan. We have EDO 3, which is along Route 9. So I want to call this EDO and allow neighborhood commercial uses, flex space, light industrial uses along Texas Road. That will be the first ordinance. The second, which I will come next month, will be for Hovnanian because the same problem, that was another GDP. The homes are being built, but again, none of them can really put patios or pools behind because the impervious coverage, they've already exceeded on the impervious coverage. So the zoning office, myself, we have been trying to examine all these building lots to see what really works. What is a decent sized pool that each of these homeowners can put. We'll come up with requirements. We'll create a new zone requirement so that moving forward, they don't have to go to the zoning board and it's easier for us to review. So 10 years down the line, because the one challenge I have every day is we had all these planned developments or cluster zones. But when some homeowner wants to put a patio, or they were approved based on alternate design standards, which means you're in R5 zone, but R7 zone standards apply. There is nothing written in the ordinance. So it's only by memory, like either the zoning officer will remind me, Veena, this development is based on R7. So we go back. But what happens, after 10 years? Who's going to remember all that? So I want to start cleaning up these approved developments, have standards in our ordinance so that moving forward, one, it's easier for the residents. We don't have to force them to go to the zoning board, and it's just by permit that they should be allowed to do these basic things. So this is just the start or the beginning, but you will see many more ordinances coming in place. It's just a cleanup that we are doing so that it's easier for us as well as the residents.
Yeah, but as you do that, isn't that considered spot zoning? And you can be faced with a lawsuit later on for another developer says, hey, you did it for them, why don't you do it for me?
No, I don't think so. And Ken, you can jump in because these are developments that were already built. So we're really not spot zoning. OC2 was always slated for commercial. So, and when I'm doing OC2, I'm also looking at the commercial development that was already approved. So what I did is I amended the master plan. I pointed out the inconsistencies and problems so that when I come in with an ordinance, it is consistent with the master plan. We're trying to resolve issues that prevail in our land use plan. So I don't believe it will be termed as spot zoning.
And then we're not open to a liability from another builder saying that you did it for them, why aren't you doing it for me?
No, not at all.
On this side?
I always felt when the planning board approves a GDP, that it should be built in a certain amount of time, because just like you said, it does change. And just like the Brunetti Hovnanian project, that was approved 25, 30 years ago, and it's changed. And then with the Woodhaven, it's changed because the areas around it has changed. So now we're building something that how the landscape looked 25, 30 years ago. And it proposes many problems for traffic, for safety, things like that. So I don't know, how do you change that? Like if you pass a GDP, can you change an ordinance, say you have this many years to build, and if you don't, you have to come back?
So a GDP always expires. Mm-hmm. So I think Woodhaven's GDP expired in January. And that is why they came in and filed an application just to secure the OC2 or the commercial development. However, the GDP has expired. And that is why we want to go and fix the zoning, because then we don't have to rely on the GDP. We can go by the new zones that are created for the GDP. I don't believe in future. There was a time when GDPs was a thing, like 30 years back, when there wasn't too much infrastructure improvement. But now you're seeing like there are different avenues to get infrastructure improvements. We recently did huge redevelopment projects and we secured infrastructure improvements or circulation plan improvements. So I don't believe you will see more of GDPs coming in. What has expired, or what has been approved because they have preliminary approval. So we still have to abide by those, but we definitely can improve. The developer has the opportunity to come and ask for an amendment. I know that Edgewood Properties, which is part of Oaks One Development, has now filed an application for an amended GDP. It's still being reviewed. In fact, it's been scheduled in front of the planning board, but that's the way to go. And, we have to ensure that we don't add on to newer GDPs where, we're trying to figure out stuff after 20 years. I think that's governed by municipal land use law, if I'm not mistaken.
Guaranteed 20 and a number of 5-year renewals?
Yes. Yep.
I believe it's the state statute right now.
Yep.
That's
anyone?
a state statute?
Yes.
But we have not had a GDP since I can remember.
Those were the only two. Yeah, those were the only two. We haven't seen them in the last 10 years at least.
Nor do I believe we'll see another one.
Okay, anyone on my left have a question for Vina? Mayor?
No question. I'm glad to see, because when I drove down, through the KHAV development, I was shocked to see how close those houses were together. And, they literally had no land. And I think, Mayor, I had mentioned it to you. I said, how did this get approved? And, we discussed this was, GDP, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever. And I was absolutely going to find out, how do we change the ordinances to not ever have that happen again? So I think it's overdue.
Okay, anyone else have any comments or questions? No? Okay, thank you very much for the presentation, and I do agree, that we do have to do this cleanup.
We're going to keep chipping away at it. We'll just
Yeah,
keep chipping
well, that's it, exactly. And I think you're doing a good job of trying to eliminate a
fix
lot
the
of
wrongs
these.
not the wrongs, but the decisions that were made so long ago.
Right, well, that's it, and
Times
it
have
is.
changed, the needs,
Yep.
when we talk about some commercial development, it's just not feasible any longer.
No.
With the e-tail business.
Well, that's why, like
going on.
Dr. Greenberg said, length of time for these, approvals, things have changed so much that you have to
We
make
can find a
some
use
adjustments.
that really
Right.
serves the public, flex space, get our small contractors, places to have a place to call home.
And the public has to realize it is 30 years in the making. This isn't something that was decided upon 2, 3, 10 years ago. This is something that was a long time ago. So it's not, we're trying to get our arms around it and get ahead of it. And I hope people realize that it's not.
With the support of the council, we
Yeah.
can fix it or make it better.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Next is going to be the consent agenda. I will ask for a motion in second, and then I'll go for separations.
Second.
You made the motion, Debbie?
Anita moved.
Okay. Anita, Dr. Greenberg made the motion, Mrs. Walker made the second, and now we'll go for separations.
Councilperson DeCaro, any items for separation?
C2?
C2. Councilperson DePalma?
C3.
Councilperson Desai?
Abstain.
Any items for separation?
No.
Councilperson Garcia?
None, thank you.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli?
No, thank you.
Councilperson Pasquitti?
No separations, thank you.
Councilperson Walker?
C4.
C4. Council President Stohar?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to take a vote on the remainder of the consent agenda minus items number C2, C3, and C4.
Okay.
Councilperson DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilperson DePalma?
Yes.
Councilperson Desai?
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia?
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti.
Yes.
Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes. Okay, next will be C2, Mrs. DeCaro.
Yeah, I just had a question, how this is related to the first reading FR5. I mean, they're both related to municipal improvements, so I was just curious.
So there's three things on for tonight's meeting that's related to the municipal courtyard improvements. One was the FR5, and that was appropriating $160,000. We had opened bids. We had opened bids for the municipal complex. We had a shortfall. You may recall at the last meeting, we did reject bids that we had received because we didn't have enough funding. What we did was we went back to CME Associates who had prepared the contract plans. We had them revise the document, and we had chosen, I guess, a simpler solution to the courtyard that would be a bit less expensive, especially in today's times where all material costs and labor costs are skyrocketing. So that's why we went out to bid. We did get one person that bid that was reasonable. However, we did have to ask for more money, and that's why we have FR5. The resolution C2 is to give CME Associates additional funding because they had revised their plans to allow us to go back out to bid. And then, just so I complete the story, C5, the resolution rejecting bids for contract 2022-54 for the municipal courtyard is because there is a very small amount of money in the courtyard project that I'm using community development block grant funding that we received a grant. In our bid documents, I had missed that we did not put federal language in the document when we had gone out to bid. So what we are doing is we are asking for more money tonight, which you had voted in the affirmative. We are going to go out to bid, and we are going to open that bid package prior to the next meeting and then award at the August 9th meeting.
So is this C2 a part of?
Yes,
FR5?
it is the revisions that were necessary to the plans so that we can go out to bid and make the results less expensive than that was opened and rejected at our June meeting.
Okay. I guess I should have probably asked this at previous meetings, but what was the compelling event to do the improvements in the municipal?
What happens in our courtyard, and our DPW director is in the audience too, there's uneven surfaces, right? So we have different materials. We have pavers, we have concrete, and we actually also have out there, what people don't see is a heated sidewalk or a heated unit that's underneath the sidewalk and the paving areas that bring you from the front of this administration building to the curb line out on the municipal drive. So what happens is because of that uneven surface, there's a lot of trip and falls. Our insurance company had recommended that the township take the efforts to improve the courtyard so that we take the liability away from us. Now, some of the falls out there create liability, and then the people that fall sue us. In many cases, I, as a township engineer, and our DPW director, Casey Linning, get deposed on these, I guess, depositions. And sometimes we come out successful and sometimes we don't. So to eliminate that liability, instead of having two different surfaces, and DPW has been out there to reset the pavers and to go above and beyond, but because it's just an aging infrastructure, we need to eliminate that condition. In doing so, we actually took a little bit extra care in the courtyard to make a plaza area, to increase seating so that people can enjoy the area, to update the lighting in there so that when we do have events in the courtyard, we could, maybe light, the sort of the knee wall that we are creating for seating for any of our special events out there, or for any of our holiday seasons. So we took a little extra care to just say, okay, well, we're gonna do some revisions out there. Let's make it for the better. We are updating our sidewalk heating system out there, and we are actually putting an Old Bridge Township seal similar to the one that you see up on the wall in the center of the court, so that we have an inviting place for our residents to come and sit outside and just enjoy the area, sort of like a park-like atmosphere.
Gotcha. And the heated sidewalk, you said, is that to prevent, like, with the snow and ice to keep it from?
Yeah, it does a nice job. We have new boilers. The old one, or they don't make it like they used to, but what happens is there's hoses, probably about 12 in series, that run parallel to each other out to the main municipal drive. And what they do is there's heated water that creates a steam, and that is what, and you'll notice this winter season, as in past, you'll see there's sort of a dry patch in the center that goes to them. It doesn't mean that we still salts, we still sand, we use that brine, we still come out there and we, plow the snow away. So but it does give it that extra, warmth to not make it icy.
More of a safety.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are we good?
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
All right, so do we have a motion for this?
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Peschetti.
Roll call. Councilperson DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilperson De Palma?
Yes.
Councilperson Desai?
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia?
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Councilperson Peschetti?
Yes.
Councilperson Walker?
Yes.
Council President Sohar?
Yes, and I would just like to add that there was a lot of work that went into that project, and having the senior center there, I really think it's important for our seniors that they have the heated, sidewalks and the new places to sit. We have so many people now that attend the senior center; they love it there. And when I come, once in a while here, I will see them sitting outside enjoying the weather and each other. So I think increasing our space for them, not just for them, but for everyone. But they do utilize it. They do utilize it a lot. So I do think that this was a good initiative. I really do. Thank you. Next will be C3, Mr. De Palma.
Yep, this is just, seems like every council reminder that residents are eligible for the, if you are a disabled veteran, to have your property taxes refunded. So please, if you do have questions or concerns, if you think you're eligible, please reach out to either the administration or your council person. And if no one has anything else, I'll move it.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. De Palma, second by Mrs. Walker.
Roll call. Councilperson DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilperson De Palma?
Yes.
Councilperson Desai?
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia?
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Councilperson Peschetti?
Yes.
Councilperson Walker?
Yes.
Council President Sohar?
Yes.
8 yeses.
Okay, next will be C4, Mrs. Walker.
Yes, this is a resolution authorizing a waiver of permit fees for a Make-A-Wish Foundation. Councilwoman Sohar and myself received a letter from the Make-A-Wish Foundation for a family in Old Bridge asking us to waive the permit fees. So we had asked the town if they would waive the fees, because if they weren't, we were going to pay for it because it was only like $80-something. So the town's going to waive the fees.
Yep. I think it was a very good initiative. I want to thank Mrs. Shapiro and our clerk, Kate, for reaching out and making sure that this was something that was a priority, because they needed it. It was time sensitive. And I do appreciate that when a family is struggling and in need like that. That's something that I really think is, important that we do for the community. So Mrs. Walker, did you make a motion?
I will.
And I'll second it.
Roll call. Councilperson DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilperson De Palma?
Yes.
Councilperson Desai?
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia?
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti.
Yes.
Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses.
Thank you. Next is report of the Township Clerk.
So I did want to report that the clerk's office has seen an increase in block party requests. We want to put on record that people please make sure to file a timely application so that all approvals could be ascertained, as well as an appearance prior to the event at a council meeting. It has also come to the attention that being that summer and nicer weather has come our way, there has been an increase in parties and barbecues. We ask that everyone be mindful and respectful of all your neighbors and keep the noise pollution to a minimum. Copies of any ordinances or any questions on any items, rules and ordinances for the town, you can just contact the municipal clerk's office and we'll be able to provide you with all of the requirements and documentation needed for any type of event. And we will also be preparing something for the mayor's PSA that he does weekly or biweekly so that we can put out all of our block party applications, all of our special event permits, and just the availability of the ordinances out on our township website.
Okay. Anyone have a question for the clerk or a comment?
I just want to thank you for doing a good job. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? No, we're good? Okay, yeah. There's a lot of new people in the community, and we welcome everyone. And it's just, getting used to living in Old Bridge. And like the clerk said, there are, permits for certain things, block parties, and so on. And if you have any concerns or questions, you can call the clerk's office. It's a fantastic group of people in there, and they're all willing to, answer any questions you have. And, this way, you know what's required, and that your neighbors, again, we all live here together. We love it here, and we just want to respect each other. So if anybody has any, questions about having something, just please reach out and we'll let you know what's permissible and what you have to do. Okay, I'll take a motion then.
And I just wanted to say also that most of these permits, there are no fees.
Right, that's
so
another
it's not a fee to the residents.
No.
It's just so that we can notify our police
Right, so they
department
have a
in case there's an emergency over there. So our fire department knows that if they have to get through over there, that the road is, blocked for a block party. So it's just strictly for notifying purposes.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up because it's true. There are no fees involved for that. So if we're okay, I'd ask for a motion.
Move it.
Okay, moved by Mr. Pescetti, second by Dr. Greenberg to accept our clerk's report. And thank you, Kate, for a very good job.
Roll call, Councilperson DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilperson DePalma?
Yes.
Councilperson Desai? Yes. Councilperson Garcia?
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti?
Yes.
Councilperson Walker?
Yes.
Council President Sohar?
Yes. Next will be our attorney. Do you have a report?
None at this time, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And next will be administrative report. Wherever you are, Mr. Shaw, this is Mrs. Shapiro, please.
Thank you, Council President. This is administrative report dated July 12th, 2022. County Route 516 detour. Middlesex County is continuing construction of drainage improvements on County Route 516 between Gobb Road and White Oak Lane. Beginning on or about Monday, July 18th, 2022, County Route 516 eastbound direction will be detoured using Gobb Road to Throckmorton Lane and New Jersey State Highway Route 9 for a continual 3-week period, weather permitting. The contractor will be working an accelerated schedule of 6 days a week, 10 hours per day to limit the detour disruption. Please direct any questions to Lima Charlie Construction Office at 833-242-2427. Attention, Christopher White, Project Manager, or Middlesex County Engineering at 732-745-3283. New Jersey State Highway Route 34 and Amboy Road traffic signal. New Jersey Department of Transportation contractors have completed the Phase 1 concrete work associated with the installation of the new traffic signal at the intersection of New Jersey State Highway Route 34 and Amboy Road. Beginning mid-July 2022, weather permitting, NJDOT electrical unit will be on site to install the signal equipment. Expect delays and, if possible, use alternate route. Visit the Township's website at www.oldbridge.com and follow us on social media at facebook.com/obtown or on Twitter at obtownnj for continual updates. Phillips Drive resurfacing. On or about Wednesday, July 13th, 2022, tomorrow, weather permitting, Old Bridge Township contractors will begin milling and resurfacing of Phillips Drive from Rock Hill Road to Cottrell Road. Resurfacing will require detouring of certain sections of Phillips Drive within the Arbor's development. When this occurs, parking will be limited to side streets that intersect Phillips Drive. For continual updates on the project, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and oldbridge.com/projects. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact the Old Bridge Township Engineering Department at 732-721-5600, extension 2302. Item number 4, third quarter tax payments. The 2022 final 2023 preliminary tax bills will be mailed out on July 15th. The last day to pay taxes without interest or penalties is August 10th. Payment received after August 10th will accrue interest back to the statutory due date of August 1st. The Division of Tax Collection will be open Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. during the third quarter tax collection period. The office will also be open between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. on Saturday, August 6th, and between the hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Wednesday, August 10th. Payment can be made in person at the tax office, at the drop box located near the front doors of the Thomas J. English Administration Building, by mail, online through our website, and through signing up for automatic withdrawals. For homeowners who are in automatic withdrawal program, your taxes will be withdrawn on or about August 5th. For additional information, residents should contact the Division of Tax Collection at 732-721-5600, extension 2999. Item number 5, Recycling Drop-Off Center. The next paint day will be on Saturday, August 13th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. As a reminder, the Recycling Center is open 3 days a week for items such as metal, TV, carpeting, mattresses, box springs, and more. Visit oldbridge.com/recycling for the full list of accepted items. Item number 6, Appliance Pickup. Residents are reminded that Township pickup appliances every 2 weeks by appointment only. If you need an appliance pickup, including lawnmowers and large gym equipment, please email recycling@oldbridge.com to make an appointment or call 732-721-5600, extension 6107. Item number 7, Parks and Recreation. Vendor applications for Saltwater Day, August 13th, and Old Bridge Day, September 25th, are posted on the Township website. Please visit oldbridge.com/recreation. And Council President, I just want to add item number 8, Middlesex County Annual Road Resurfacing. We just heard this afternoon that Middlesex County contractors will begin milling and resurfacing of Matawan Morristown Road, Cliffwood Road, Ernston Road, Bordentown Avenue on or about July 20th, 2022 during nighttime operations. Follow us on our social media outlets, on our website, on Facebook and Twitter to get continual information. And what I'm going to do is on oldbridge.com/project, I'm going to post the limits of those roadways and how they're resurfacing it. Just know that they had requested that, they do their operations at nighttime to try and alleviate any of the effects of traffic. And one last thing, this will be discussed also at our August 9th meeting. All these roadway improvements are being done, but our 2022 annual roadway resurfacing contract is gearing up. What we're doing is we're going to push that to middle of August or late August so that we're in advance of the school openings, but in the summertime, but after these, projects and the closure of 516. So know that there's resurfacing of about 30 township roads coming mid-August to end August. That concludes the administrative report.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have a question or a comment for Mrs. Shapiro? Ms. Carroll?
Just to ask, they will be, those road surfacing jobs will be done by school?
Well, no, what happens is when we start our contractor, he then starts on the roads, one, that don't have any concrete work. As per federal guidelines, we are required when we resurface to do the ADA ramps at the intersections. So they won't all be done. What we do is we prioritize the roads that are affected by the school and the surrounding areas, and then we leave off the remaining for 30 roads, it usually goes into the fall, and we usually conclude before the winter months, because the winter months is when our asphalt plant closes.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else on this side? No? Okay, on this side? Okay, I just asked everyone out there, please, to have patience with this Route 516 project. It is a county project, and I know it's going to be a little challenging going around that area. I use it a lot myself. So I ask everyone, please, to have patience. It's not something that, we had anticipated, but unfortunately, it has to be now seen to fruition. So we have to just have a little patience and bear with it, okay? Thank you. I'll take a motion to accept.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. De Palma.
Roll call. Councilperson DeCaro.
Yes.
Councilperson De Palma.
Yes.
Councilperson Desai.
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia.
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti.
Yes.
Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes.
8 yeses.
Okay, next will be public comment to any of an agency. No, I'm sorry, I apologize. I have one housekeeping item that we have to do. We need to make another motion and second and vote on our resolution approving the council combined minutes meetings of January 19th, 2021, January 26th, 2021, April 13th, 2021, June 22nd, 2021, September 28th, 2021, October 12th, 2021, October 26th, 2021, November 9th, 2021, December 14th. What is going on? We didn't have enough people. We didn't have enough people, so can we get this completed? You were off dais. Okay, my goodness. December 28th, 2021, and an executive meeting minutes of December 14th, 2021, and December 28th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg, second by Mrs. Walker, and now roll call, please.
Councilperson DeCaro.
Abstain.
Councilperson De Palma.
Yes.
Councilperson Desai.
Abstain.
Councilperson Garcia.
I will abstain as well.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquitti.
Yes.
Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes.
It's 5 yeses.
Okay, so now we have enough to pass it. Okay? All right, next is public comment on any subject matter for a maximum period of 3 minutes.
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. This section is open for any topic or items on the consent agenda. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the Old Bridge Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 3 minutes or less. Only one member of the public should approach to speak to council at a time. The council will respect the public's time by reframing any comment until the speaker has finished with their allotted time. It should be further noted that the public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. If a member of the public has questions they seek answers to, an appointment can be made with the corresponding department's office during regular business hours. The township clerk will regulate the time during the comment portion of our meeting.
Is there anyone in the public who wishes to be heard? Come forward, please. Good evening.
Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Joan Gibson, 134 Archery Court.
Is the mic on?
Is that on?
Hang on.
Figures, right?
No worries. Okay, there you go. Yeah, just speak in, please.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening.
Joan Gibson, 134 Archery Court. I just wanted to say that when I came home from my vacation on June 11th, had a beautiful vacation in Nantucket, I found that my cat chip had gotten stuck between the wall and my clothes dryer.
Oh.
And I didn't know where he was at first, but all I heard was meow, 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 meow. So anyway, so I panicked, of course, and I called the police, thinking maybe the firemen would come, but the police came. So I just wanted to commend 2 patrol officers. One was Craig Nielsen, and the other one was, I'm not sure of her first name, but it was Waldron, Patrol Officer Waldron. So I just wanted to say thank you so much.
Oh, that's so nice.
They just moved the dryer a little bit, and boy, he shot out.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, well, thank God he's good. Well, thank those officers. That's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, yeah. You're welcome. Yeah, you're not kidding. Okay, anyone else in the public wish to be heard this evening? Okay, seeing no hands, I'll close public portion and we'll go to council comments.
Councilperson DeCaro.
Yes. So I just wanted to, I don't expect any answers or anything tonight, but I just wanted to say that I've been reached out, residents have been reaching out to me with concerns on Phillips Drive. Nothing to do with the construction or anything, but they are concerned about the speeding between the cut through from Cottrell to Route 9, Route 9 to Cottrell. And I've heard it many times before. So I was just wondering if maybe for next agenda, we can put it, as a discussion, because I don't expect anyone to, address it tonight. But if there's any, because I know that this is something they've been asking for speed bumps, they've asked for stop signs, and I know that this is something over the years that on other roads that has been asked for, and there's reasons why speed bumps can't be put or stop signs can't be put. But I was just wondering if there was anything in particular that we can do for the residents of Phillips Drive. There's also 2 other streets. I had a resident reach out to me about Press Mill, the speeding on Press Mill, and also on Valley Vale. So again, I'm just bringing it up for possible discussion in the future. I don't expect any answers tonight. Okay.
Councilman DePalma.
Yes, just I hope everyone enjoyed their 4th of July Independence Day weekend. I hope everyone else enjoys the rest of their July. And as always, please, everyone, slow down. Be careful. Seems like every time we come up here, the week before, the day before, there's some accident somewhere. I mean, there was 2 fatalities just the other day on the Garden State Parkway, along with many other accidents that happen in town and around town. So please get home safe. Make sure everyone else around you gets home safe, and slow down. Thank you.
Councilperson Desai.
I think we just celebrated July 4th, Independence Day. So now we have few more weeks of this summer, so please enjoy and also stay safe, because this ever-present COVID-19 is not relenting, does not want to go. I think the COVID-19 loves us, or we love him or her, whatever it is. But so please stay safe. Thank you.
Councilperson Garcia.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank Matt from the Parks and Recreation. He was persistent on getting that beach front clean for July 4th weekend. From what I was told, they only clean a beach Memorial Day and Saltwater Day. So I want to thank him for having them come out, the county as well, and cleaning that beach, Cliffwood Beach and Lawrence Harbor, and it looked beautiful. So I want to thank Matt for that. He's not here tonight. I also want to thank the administration for, as being the new guy, I have a lot of questions. And Casey knows I'm always bugging Casey. And I want to thank him as well, because you guys are so receptive to all my questions. So I want to thank you guys. I mean, really, thank you. And reminder, Saltwater Day, August 13th. 2 to 10. I also want to congratulate Grandma Mary on her grandson. I wasn't here last month. We saw a picture of him tonight. Congratulations again. Thank you. That's all.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes, I just want to mention and reach out and let you know that Pete Michelli, who was the president of the Girls Old Bridge Soccer League, after 27 years, has retired. He gave many years to the township. He brought that program where it was very, like 100 kids to over 850 now. He incorporated the Just for Kicks program for special needs kids. He's, with the administrations, made much progress on those fields. And for 27 years, every weekend, for the Old Bridge Girls Soccer League, that's quite a lot of dedication and a commitment. So I hope he has good retirement, and I know we pass it on to good hands. And, you know, that program's so vital to the community. It's so nice to pass there every weekend and see all the activity and everyone enjoying those families. And just so everyone have a good, safe summer.
Councilperson, Councilperson.
Your favorite.
Pasquini.
I failed to mention the rest of the clerk's office and the good job that they do. You know, during this election, we really got hammered by the county with all these new rules and regulations, and they stressed everybody out. But everybody in the clerk's office did a really good job considering what they had to go through. So I just want to say thank you.
I do want to say that the staff in my office did an excellent job. Very impressed. And just remember, we have 2 brand new people in the office, so trying to train them so that they can understand the process. They've done an amazing job. And I did want to let you know that the payments for all the poll clerks will be going out on Friday. Yes. You too, Sue. Good job. Councilperson Walker.
Yes, 2 of our pickleball-only courts are up and running as of Friday, well, 5 more. And more people are coming every day. They're very crowded. Last Sunday, they had a picnic. There were only 40 people there. It's becoming so popular. It's unbelievable. And everybody's just very thankful to the council for letting the pickleball courts be built. Also, I wanted to mention about volunteers in town. As you know, our fire company and EMS are volunteer, and they're hurting for members. And every meeting, I try to stress that to come out. And I met with the mayor, and we're trying to come up with some volunteer incentives to try to draw more volunteers, because it seems like people are very busy now. They don't have time to volunteer. We're trying to give them some kind of incentive so that they'd be willing to volunteer. And tonight, as you saw with the presentation, that's why I was asking about the volunteers, because maybe we could help recruit some more volunteers. So once again, I'd like you to ask, please, if you have a little free time, to please try to volunteer for the fire company or the EMS. It's very, very rewarding. My husband's been on for like 35 years. It's such a wonderful brotherhood in there. It's a really nice experience. We should consider doing it. And please have a safe summer. Men only? No, women too.
Council President?
Okay.
When Councilwoman Walker mentioned about the pickleball courts, it did come to my attention. I've been getting a few calls that the bathrooms aren't open over there at Menina Park, so hopefully that could be.
We're looking into some technology that might be able to solve that problem, where we can lock and unlock the bathrooms remotely, as opposed to having a park ranger go do it. So we're looking into the technology.
All right, thanks.
Oh, thank you. I forgot to mention that. Do they open the gates of the park every day? Because I was thinking when they open the gates of the park, can they open the bathrooms? Because I've received numerous complaints about they go there and the bathrooms are not open, but they see the people opening the gate. So I just thought maybe they could have the same key. I don't want to say they're seniors and they have to go to the bathroom more, but a lot of people are very upset when the bathrooms aren't open.
Your turn, Council President.
Okay. First of all, I also wanted to wish Pete lots of luck. I've known him a very long time, and he has been so dedicated to the town and to that Old Bridge girls soccer. I attended his retirement dinner. It was wonderful, and you could see the love that people have for him. To be in that organization and be 27 years and still have a whole room applauding you, you've got to be a great guy, because those are tough positions to be in, dealing with everyone, you know, and he really just had a very, very special way about him, and he's truly going to be missed. Pete, we do love you. Secondly, Rosemary Rivoli, she runs the Old Bridge Cultural Arts Committee from Township perspective, and she asked me to read this. It's they formed a public-private partnership with the Shops of Old Bridge. The cultural arts will be hosting various art, educational, and community-themed exhibitions. This week, the committee will be featuring a local artist, Olivia Hope Tadeo, works for an art solo exhibit this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m. Look for Old Bridge Arts at the Shops of Old Bridge. Visit oldbridge.com cultural arts for upcoming exhibitions, themes, dates, and times for special upcoming events and presentations. This committee is really a very vital, active committee, and they do a great job. They're trying to reach out and expand our horizons as well. This pop-up art exhibit should be really nice, and it's a local talent. So if you have the opportunity, please try and stop by. I know I will. It's a really nice, something different, you know. So if you have the opportunity, please do come in and enjoy. Thank you very much. Okay, next I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli and second by Mr. De Palma.
Roll call. Councilperson DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilperson De Palma?
Yes.
Councilperson Desai?
Yes.
Councilperson Garcia?
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Councilperson Pasquini?
Yes.
Councilperson Walker? Yes. Council President Sohar?
Yes.
Meeting's adjourned. Next meeting is August 9th, 2022.